This episode of Experience touches on themes such as 9/11, the London terrorist attacks, and the Christchurch attacks recently in New Zealand. If those will affect you, please be advised that we will talk about these in today's episode. If you need to talk about anybody about this, there will be numbers you can find online. We love and respect and love each and every single one of you. Thank you.
My team, Experience.
Hi, Dexters! Welcome to the next episode of the Dexperience.
Say it one more time, Dennis.
Hi, Dexters!
Dexter!
Yeah, you all got a name now. How does
Sort
that
of a
feel?
cool, fun name.
It's
It's a cool, cute little name.
We'll
not
get the
chosen.
FBI watch list soon.
Yeah.
The fans don't choose it, we do.
I'm Dennis,
I'm Logan.
I'm Harry.
I'm Oliver.
and we have a very special guest with us
Oh,
today.
our first
Ooh.
guest.
Yes.
What's
Who
your
is it?
name?
We have...
I'm April. Oh, hello.
What's your name? Tell us where you're from.
My name's April Boland, and I am from here in Wellington.
Ooh.
There we go.
Ooh.
We
It's-
have a girl!
Yeah, oh my
Yeah.
god! It was
Girls like
Female.
Pokemon.
getting like a bit of a sausage fest, I must say.
Who said that's a problem?
Exactly. So, we're here to talk about the latest episode,
Tentacool and
versus
Tentacruel.
Is it
I like to
this?
say-
Is
Yeah,
it?
it's
I thought it was
that.
and.
Oh my god, it is and.
Oh, see?
Oh.
Tentacool and
Okay.
Tentacruel. Sorry,
I-
Dexters.
I like to say a cool tent and a cruel tent.
Okay, well,
Because
cool.
if
Be
you
different.
put the tent,
Backwards?
you,
A cruel
well, no,
tent.
you got Tentacool.
Oh.
But tents are pretty cool. But I also like a cool tent. You know?
How is this relevant?
I don't know. I'm just.
I mean, I've only pitched a tent
Did I
once.
just Dennis myself?
And that was for a theater show.
April, what are your tent experiences?
Mostly just school camp. My parents don't like to camp. My mother would rather sleep in a bed.
I respect that.
Thank you
Cool.
for the...
Glamping.
Logan, you went camping a lot as a child.
I did. We
Quite the
used to
camper,
go
aren't you,
like
Logan?
every year when I was growing up. We used to have because there was 6 of us, so we used to have to have a place that had a fridge. Otherwise,
Oh
we'd
yeah, you glamped, didn't you? Because
No, well, we didn't. We had a fridge, and that was our glamping. Because we used to have 6 of us. So if we didn't have a fridge, we would have had to spend way more money on food.
yeah.
I remember.
true.
I remember 2 vivid camping trips. One was in Brittany in France, and I almost drowned on the beach. And the other one was in Langwas Lake back home in Wales, and I saw wild otters.
Rubbish.
Oh.
So 2 very,
Awesome.
Logan,
What?
2 very humble experiences. I almost died and seeing wild otters.
Aww.
That's
Good
beautiful.
time, man. It's a good
I
time.
love a good otter.
Yeah.
They're so cute.
I also love drowning.
Yeah. I almost drowned. I almost said I used to drown.
Hey, drowning's an appropriate topic for this
I almost
episode.
drowned. Actually, it is.
Any near water? I was once in my sister. I was swimming in the pool. I was under the water, and when I was learning to swim, so I had a life jacket on, and my sister jumped in on one of those big pink chairs,
Oh.
and because
Ooh.
I had my life thingy on,
Yeah.
I was underneath the chair when I came back from the water, so I couldn't push her up. So I had, and I was freaking. I was 10 seconds.
You got
of-
simmed.
I am.
Sims.
Like in The Sims where you take away the...
Yeah,
The
basically.
pull out.
the cool thing.
I
See, I
have,
was
I
stuck.
have another near drowning experience.
Oh, fun.
Oh my gosh.
Twice.
Harry.
Yeah. This was in a lazy river. I wanted to try and do a handstand
I'm sorry.
during a lazy
Who,
river.
who handstands
Wait,
in a
what?
lazy
I
river?
handstanded in a lazy
It's
river.
called a lazy
Wait.
Yeah, not gymnastics.
It was so shallow
Wait,
that I just got stuck and my head was on the floor and I couldn't move.
what's
I
a,
just got
what's a
stuck.
lazy river?
It's like a little river area you see in some water parks where you get on either a dinghy
sit
or you just kind of
Like a
like
log.
a
float
tube.
down.
Oh.
It's got like a current.
slow current. Yeah.
Yeah.
current
Wait, you
takes
drowned
you.
in one of those?
I tried to do a handstand and
Yes, you
I
drowned.
got stuck.
Oh.
R.I.P.
Like-
Harry.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Stuck in
terrifying.
what?
What?
Like, because it's
Like
shallow.
in a gear or
it was
something?
a shallow water.
Ooh.
So I tried to do a handstand and my head and my neck and my arms kind of got stuck and my
And
body
what?
wouldn't flip over. It was going with the current.
Did you
Oh my
cramp?
god.
No.
Oh, okay.
I,
Oh my
I've
gosh.
almost drowned twice.
Oh my gosh.
I
I've
don't
looked- have you
understand
looked
how that
into-
happened.
Have you looked into those amusement park
Pretty
horror
cramp.
stories?
Pretty
It's
cramp.
it makes me not want to go to any because they're so
Yeah, just like Pokemon
violent.
Land, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Oh.
definitely.
Don't be started about Pokemon.
Oh.
Land.
Dennis, you have a game for us?
Yes,
to play
I have a
today?
game for us. Okay, so this game is kind of a variation of a game that I learnt about in
April.
theater. But also it
Ooh,
was
the
on this
theatre.
it was also in this podcast I listened to called Freedom where they go you have
Threesome.
to freedom.
Oh.
And you have to say
It's quite the podcast.
3 dumb.
Like what you are, Oliver.
Oh.
He's so to say
Roasted.
Logan first.
Because you're in my line of sight right now.
There we go.
Because
Alright,
like,
the
if I
dumb one's over here.
If I like look all the way back, I'm like giving my back to the camera, which is like the worst thing to do as like a theater person. So I try.
what's
I'm
the
trying to
game?
cheat out. Okay, so basically we do. I say 1, and then someone says 2, and we agree to like say we count to 3 together, and then we say a word. And the aim of the game is to say the same word, and you can like do it between 2 people, 3 people, and so on and so forth.
For
But
the purposes of the
we'll
listeners
just
at
do
home,
2.
should we give a quick demonstration?
Yeah, and for this variation, it's like Poke themed, so it's like a Pokemon themed one where we try and say the same name of a Pokemon.
So
So
just quickly,
yeah.
me and Dennis will just show what we mean.
1,
2.
1, 2, 3,
Pikachu.
lightning. 1,
2.
1, 2, 3, Raichu.
Bulbasaur. Damn.
1.
2. 1, 2, 3, Charmander.
Oh my god!
Alright, game's over.
See,
Okay,
that's
alright, that's
see,
the episode
it's
done,
so
guys.
satisfying when you get it. Also, keep
I'm-
away from the mics.
We
when
have
we
I'm
go.
not-
time to do it one more time.
Yeah, let's just do it. Some
Are we
more.
just
not
saying
joining in.
names, or
Yeah.
are we saying other words as
Just
well?
names.
'Cause You
Just
said
Pokemon.
light. You said
No, it can be
lightning.
words or names because
Okay.
you're trying to say the name, but like if you want to like clue to the next one because you kind of build upon it, like it's like
I just say random
well,
ones.
it's like I guess it can be like that, but like usually you use it as a suggestion to build upon it. So if I say fire and you say flying, and then like someone will be like, oh, that's like Charizard, and then
Triz.
I see.
oh
I see.
yeah, so it's like you can kind of do that as
Okay.
well.
Sure. Okay. All right, we
So
got
let's
time
do
for
this.
to do one more time.
Let's do. We can do a few
Why?
rounds.
Yeah, we
2.
can do a couple more.
1, 2, 3,
Ross.
Bulbasaur.
Ooh.
1,
2.
1,
1, 2, 3,
Bellsprout.
Venusaur.
1.
2. 1, 2, 3, Squirtle. Damn it. We should have stopped. We shouldn't have gone together again.
1,
2.
1, 2, 3,
Weeping
Jigglypuff.
Bell. Damn it.
1.
2,
1.
1, 2, 3, Wigglytuff.
1.
2,
1, 2, 3,
Firestone.
I
One.
didn't have one.
Aja.
1.
2, 1, 2, 3,
Clefairy.
Vulpix.
1,
2.
1,
2,
2, 3,
3.
Clefable. You didn't say anything.
I don't know who Clefable is.
2, 1,
1,
2,
2,
3,
3,
Clefable.
1,
2.
1, 2, 3,
Mr. Mime.
Nidoking.
Oh.
1.
2, 1, 2, 3,
Nidoqueen.
Alakazam.
1.
2. 1, 2, 3, Abra.
What did you say?
Kadabra.
No.
1,
2.
1, 2, 3,
Sabrina.
Haunter.
1.
2, 1, 2, 3, Gengar.
Okay, we'll finish it there. We're stopping.
That was so good.
stressful.
It's so satisfying.
Let's end on a
I
win.
love it. It's so good.
One more time.
Waiter.
Oh my god.
Check, please.
Okay.
Dennis,
So-
you prepared to do the
I
wrap
am
up?
prepared. I have notes up, so I'll try not to waffle, but I probably will.
So this is one of the most infamous episodes.
Well, okay. So, oh no, maybe I should talk about it first.
Yeah, we'll
yeah, do the
we'll
synopsis
Okay.
first.
So, well, depending on the order, and also there was a burned episode between this one and the other one, which we're gonna do, which
Next
we will
episode.
have done, depending
By
on the
then.
order
We
that
will
we're
have done it
posting.
by then, yes.
We will have done it. We haven't done it yet. We'll do it next week. So if you want to listen to that first,
We will record it next
You
week,
will have
but it will
listened
be
to-
out before this episode.
yeah, I confuse myself.
Yes.
It's okay, Dennis. We're here for help. We're
Thank you.
here to help.
Thank you. So, the trio have just gotten back from the Isle of Giant Pokemon, and they've kind of forgotten all about everything to do with the SS that Saint Anne and being trapped on an island and marooned. So they're just waiting on the docks, and they can't really like they're waiting on the pier.
They just missed the ferry.
Yeah, they just missed the ferry,
It's gonna
and
be
they
a whole
can't.
3 hours until next.
3 hours. Oh my gosh, that's
That's
like
the
a
length of Lord
first
of the
world
Rings.
problem, isn't it?
Man.
And so they spot a horsey, and the horsey looks a lot worse for wear. Misty, especially, is quite like drawn to it, and then it draws some art on the with its.
That's what I'm...
It draws some
Beautiful.
artistic
Say
recreations.
Respect.
Logan can respect
I
it.
Course.
Um,
Tyler can recognize
we
a
should
fellow
have done the art
artist.
one for this episode. It would have been good. And so Misty's about to capture it to try and heal its wound, but suddenly there's an explosion.
Gasp.
Misty sends out her Pokemon. There are sailors jumping ship, and Misty sends out her Pokemon to go rescue those sailors.
Those
And
are
they
the useless
and the
Pokemon.
trio themselves, they go out and they try and like pull up as many people. And there's like one sailor who's like paralyzed on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And so that they talk to him, and he's like, "Oh my god, need to tell the boss." And we come across this piece of work. Her name, Beauty, the opposite of Beauty, I should say. Thy name is Nestina.
It's totally like a drag queen name.
Yeah,
Nestina.
it's like Christina Aguilera.
Yeah.
Welcoming Nastina
Ode.
to the stage.
So then, it turns out that they've been kind of preventing Nestina from developing this island or land or
The
expanding.
tentacle have.
Yeah, the
cool
that the
things.
Tentacool are habitating.
The coral reef.
Yeah, and like Nestina's like offering the trio. They're offering she's offering them money, all you can eat food, like $1 million. That's quite a lot. Like unlimited hotel. I got a lot of Trump vibes, I must say, and so. And so Misty's not having any of it. She's like super offended. She can't believe that Nestina would want to destroy
Small loaf.
would want to destroy that environment in such a way. And she's like, Misty really cares for the environment. And then we get like Misty. They go like, "Why, Misty? Why are you like so into Tentacool?" And she's like, "Oh, they're the ruby of the sea." And it's really emotional. And then they are walking down, and they go to meet Horsey, who's been recuperating in a paddling pool in the middle of the street
With Pikachu.
with
With
Pikachu.
Pikachu, yeah,
which
that was weird.
actually, that Pikachu clip is the Pikachu's jukebox clip,
Yeah.
which is quite like if you know it.
Nope.
Also, how about those male concubines that Nestina has? I forgot to
Right?
mention.
I thought
Yeah,
they
we'll
were so
talk about those.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll
we-
talk about those
Yes,
when we
yes.
get there.
Oh, I will
boy.
talk about them all day
Oh,
if
yeah.
I can.
We saw that coming.
Yeah. We literally said like, "Dance, we'll talk about that for 10 minutes."
So and so then Nestina puts out an open call on the city's at Porto Vista's PA system, which I assume is a great misuse of power, because I'm pretty sure those are just for like emergency announcements. But anyway,
Or
that's-
Isabel.
yeah, Isabel. Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a TV show I watched today, guys.
So
They went, oh, Anna?
So the Hugh Hefner of the Pokemon world, Nestina, she says, "I'm gonna give everyone money if you can go and," I think in her words, "destroy all the Tentacool, I should say," which is like, when like it's terrible. Essentially, they're gonna try and like get rid of them, and things really escalating. Misty's like, "They're disrespecting the ocean," which is quite like ominous. And so
Ominous.
suddenly Nestina shows up in an army tank surrounded
Yeah.
by several other army tanks
Just a
from
bit
the
extreme.
army, which is insane. And but then Team Rocket, they somehow they hit the what is it, the barrel of the tank
Yeah.
with a suction cup,
It's like a cupid.
a rose
like,
attached
type
to a
thing.
suction cup.
Excellent aim.
Which I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it explains, because you like it's like in anime, it's a common trope to have the rose. So just to have it stuck in a suction cup is quite fun. And
No,
oh,
I guess
yeah,
I'll
oh,
talk
yeah.
about it, actually.
And so Team Rocket
waiter.
they give the motto. Team Rocket give the motto, and they say, "We've got it sorted. We're gonna get rid of this Tentacool problem, and we're gonna get
Like
them."
breaking the break. It's hard to say.
Yeah,
We
And
understand your pain, Harry.
it's like a tongue twister, and so they have like, I think they have what, like toxic waste, and they're gonna like dump
It's like
it.
it's like
It's like
yeah, it's meant to like
poisonous.
stun them.
Yeah, and but so they go out into the water, and then I think the Tentacool overwhelm them, and like they explode the boat, right? And that giant vat of toxic chemicals, which we can only assume is nuclear, falls onto the Tentacool, one of the Tentacool, and that one Tentacool just like expands. It gets giant, like really like Godzilla levels big, and it evolves into a
Uh-huh.
Tentacruel.
Like Jack
And-
Black in Gulliver's Travels.
It's the exact same, really. It's,
And
That's where
then-
they got the inspiration.
yeah, not the original book, Gulliver's Travels. They got it from Jack Black. The Jack Black movies.
And then so Tentacruel just I missed
Sorry,
it.
I made so many Godzilla references. I thought it'd be a good time to change it up.
To Jack Black.
Yeah, the most well-known Gulliver's Travels was the Jack Black one. That's for
Oh
sure.
yeah, that's right. I didn't see that one.
I need 5 minutes.
Okay. Anyway,
I saw it in
Tentacruel
cinemas.
basically starts wrecking shop on Porta Vista. Tentacruel its mere presence causes a giant tsunami into the town. He like starts wrecking, tearing down buildings. He throws the tank Nastina's on into
He yeets it, I think.
Oh, Nastina's not on it, but Tentacruel throws it into Nastina's like amusement park, and Nastina has this really funny line. It's like, "Oh, it's a good thing I got that insured." And so Tentacruel is just like on a rampage with the Tentacool. The Pokemon, they try and like talk to it. Horsey, poor little old Horsey, tries to like kind of connect with Tentacruel, but it's just not getting through, and it gets yeeted against a building.
Thank you.
And the Tentacruel seem to have some sort of psychic hive mind thing going on, where they can talk as like one mass unit.
It's creepy.
It is quite
Yeah.
cool,
Jack Black
and
didn't have
and
that.
they like,
Like possessing.
That's what
yeah,
you think.
they've possessed a
Actually,
meow
School of Rock.
with like Tentacruel kind of like with a Tentacool just like suctioned on its head, like kind of mind controlling it,
It's
so it can use it
scary.
as a
It's very,
As,
very
like, a
The
thing.
voice is very like unnerving.
mm.
Unnerving.
pretty gross.
And then like they decide that Ash and the crew, they decide their last option is to have an all-out assault, and they send out all of their Pokemon to try and help, like
Pretty sick.
Starmie and Staryu. They're just suction
Well,
cupping
all
all the
but
Tentacool
Charmander.
off. Yeah, well,
Smart
Charmander
choice.
wouldn't be.
I was
helpful.
waiting to be cringy.
Lol.
Yeah, and what else? Pikachu flies up with Pidgeotto holding him, and Pikachu gives an Oscar-worthy speech that we have no idea what they're saying, but Pikachu seems like it's convincing Tentacruel.
Yeah.
But then suddenly Misty kind of chimes in as well, and she's like, "Oh, please forgive us. We apologize. We're sorry, and we really want to respect." And Tentacruel essentially says, "Okay, but I'll just give you one more chance.
Yeah.
This is the last.
Okay.
You better not do this
Next
again."
time won't be so easy.
Or I'll turn this car right.
And so Tentacruel's leaving, and then Nastina just pops out of nowhere and like tries to throw a few parting shots with this giant bazooka or bullet.
It was so
And then it just kind of bounces right off, and then so Tentacruel just like grabs her and then throws up into the air,
And she's the
and
one
sh-
that blasts.
and
off.
she blasts off in this
Again.
episode. And so we end with the beautiful, picturesque town of Porto Vista destroyed in rubble, and Nastina falls back down to Earth into her cousin, Brutalia, though it's not mentioned in this episode, and destroys the house that she's been rebuilding because it was destroyed in the banned episode.
What
That
awful names they
wasn't
both
mentioned.
have.
Yeah.
And
Jeez.
Let's call our
we
children.
learned that
Yeah.
Misty keeps the horsey.
Yeah, Misty has
Yeah, I
caught
like
Horsey off screen, and they're heading back to Kanto to continue on their journey.
Go to the next gym.
I got the names. Nastina, like Nasty Tina.
Yeah.
Brutalia,
Okay.
like Brutal Natalia.
Do you know?
Natalia kills.
Here's what Nastina. This is what Nastina looked like for me, and like, or I could see the person that she looked like becoming. She looked like Angelica Pickles,
Yes. Oh my gosh.
and
Yes.
like Angelica. That's Angelica in like 50 years. Like, once the babies keep getting on her nerves for too long, like
got
she
the vibe
becomes
of,
this
like-
bitter old woman.
I thought of Darla from Finding Nemo when she like shakes the fish
Oh,
bag.
yes, she
you
does
know?
look like that.
Oh.
It works on many levels.
You know what I thought was weird was that Brutalia and Nastina, the two cousins, they look the same. And so I have this theory that they're like
Here we go.
really old Nurse Joys.
Actually, I've got.
I
Oh,
see
you
it.
go ahead.
Yeah.
They,
Like
they
this
could
as well.
be. They could be twins with a mistranslation.
I mean, they
That's
could
true.
be.
I've got
Oh, yeah,
another
they are
theory.
twins, aren't they? In
Do
the
you know who
Japanese
looks
version.
very similar, has a similar hairstyle? Misty.
Oh,
I thought,
What?
You
I
reckon
thought
they're
her
related to
name-
Misty?
They could be
I
like.
thought
They
her
could
name was
be.
Miss Tina at first.
Oh.
I was like, wait, Misty. That's how I heard it.
They
It's just my mother's name.
they are the same, like, similar color hair and like the hairstyle. The hairstyle is
It
like
is very similar. I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, look at that.
That's what I
Couple
thought
of
that was.
theories.
She's got that
I
old
think
side
I think the
pony.
cousin thing is just like a gag at the effect that
It
like
is-
the Joys and Jennies have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is weird
Cousins.
that they look the same though, don't you think? It's like
Yeah,
they're
it's a kid's
identical.
cartoon.
Yeah.
So what's our thoughts on this episode,
Guys,
guys? It's
just a
quite it's quite a
cartoon.
political heavy one. This one.
It's
Yeah.
like
It touches on a lot of very, very relevant subjects too.
Yeah,
like
and it has a
nowadays,
lot
for
of
sure.
imagery that
Holds up.
is. It's like an action movie,
So-
but it also like uses environmental themes.
they didn't air this episode in America after.
Yes, so
Yes.
it has some very, very dark history.
So, well, I
well,
think
like, it's
it's
for a
like
while.
the reason it was banned was quite dark.
So there's a shot of Tentacool when the cities are being destroyed. The specific shot is Tentacool whacking his tentacle against a skyscraper. So around the time, of course, of the tragic events of 9/11, American TV thought it'd probably be best to pull this episode off the air,
Yeah.
and it was off the air for a decent amount of years. But what I find intriguing is that the shot of the tentacle hitting the skyscraper was left in the title crawl.
Oh yeah, and there's even a sound effect, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's
Like,
not in
I
this
think they
episode, is it? Did it hit the size
Yeah,
guys?
it did.
Oh, okay.
But actually, I was thinking about, did they take that sound effect off? Because I remember vaguely for the opening, there's like, when Tentacle hits the building, there's like a sound effect. But then I think they've taken it out.
I don't know. It could be some Mandela effect. I'm not sure.
Yeah, oh my god,
I've got
maybe it is. Like,
Well, I guess look out
I'm
for
second
look out
guessing
for the
myself.
next episode.
like,
yeah.
check your DVDs as well, I think, because they'll probably
That's a
be
good
the
idea.
same. If
Harry,
you
check
like,
the
Mm.
I've got
I'm
like
that
a-
old school man.
Get on it.
check the original hard media.
VHSs.
Yeah.
Crack 'em out,
Because
everyone.
I swear there's like a sound effect, like because there's Charizard bruised fire, and
Yes.
then it goes into the tentacle like, and that's like always like been like in my memories. But I think
Ah.
I feel I remember noticing it this time when they were showing it. I was like, oh, is it? Oh, was it not there? And I like
Yeah.
I wasn't like I
I'm
wasn't
pretty
sure
sure
enough to
it
go back.
was. It was there. It was all
Yeah.
there.
So it's not the only piece of media that was affected by 9/11. The next one that really stands out in my mind is the original Spider-Man.
Yeah, they took out the
first
poster.
trailer.
There's
Yeah, the
heaps
first
of
trailer
stuff that
was
was-
the Two Towers was in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they had to kind of
lots.
like go back
There-
and take it all out and stuff. It was
There's
cool.
actually another Pokemon episode that I think got banned just because of its name of the episode. It was called Tower of Terror.
That's right.
Oh,
yes. Yes.
yeah.
That's
Which-
coming up quite soon.
Was that is that this episode this
coming up
season?
soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool, cool.
Yeah, it's like around the era when it
Yeah.
happened. Just like everything was super touchy.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well,
Like,
Logan and Oliver, you were quite young for
I would have been 2.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
2 and a
would've-
half. I would have been
That's
2 and a
weird.
half.
I
So-
would have been one.
so you wouldn't.
as I remember it.
I remember it very. I remember it like
Wow, really?
because
almost
everything
8.
Wow.
because it, everything was like so different in terms. Even like as a kid, I would have been like,
I'm saying I was 4.
Oh.
Don't worry.
oh yeah. I was like, I thought you were like
No,
signaling.
Carry
me.
on. Sorry.
4 minutes.
We only got 4 minutes for this paralogue or whatever monologue. But I would have been, since I'm older than you, maybe like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
I remember that the morning cartoons weren't there, which was like
Wow, you were like,
They-
where's my cartoon?
no, the thing is like every single channel
Yeah.
was news, like 24-hour news, like updating you on the situation. And like for me it was weird because I just went to school same as normal.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I didn't think anything was wrong. I had no idea, and the teachers were probably like freaking out.
Yeah, yeah.
Like-
Probably.
I remember I was like, I went to go see my friends like newborn puppies. Sorry. But then like, and everyone like all the parents were like, "Oh my god, the Twin Towers," and I was like, "What are those?"
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
But then
Yeah, you're right.
obviously
The
I
Lord
know
of the
now.
Rings movie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like I was at the. I know it's a bad joke. I
Well,
apologize.
you know what's what I'd be interested to find out is like how you kind of relate yourselves to 9/11.
I was
because-
just I was about to say like I don't remember it. I was 4 at the time, so I don't.
Oh,
have
yeah.
vague memories. But the one that really struck me was the London bombings in
Oh, yes.
2003, of course.
Yes.
I was in the UK at the time.
That would have been the one that you would have been
That was
like,
a really scary one for me. I
Yeah.
was at school when the bombings hit,
and oh, you were right
Wow.
there as well.
well, I was in
right?
Cardiff in Wales. I was a
Oh,
different
yeah.
country, but UK. So
Yeah.
I was
It's
still
right
only like 3 or 4 hours away. It was
I
not
have
that
like
far.
a compressed sense of like scale, so like like where I am is here, and then everything else is kind of just like
Yeah.
it's kind of close together.
But yeah, I remember that day vividly. I was in school. We were told to stay in school with the day, which was surprising.
Wow.
It was only primary school. I think it was in year 6. I went home and just everything, all the TV, all the newspapers was just all about this bombings, and the country changed. It's awful.
Yeah,
It's absolutely
Oh.
awful.
and it's like it's really bad. I guess like well, it's not really bad. Well, it is really bad, but it's just like these things happen, and it's like it's really bad. I can't really say it in any other way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like because in New Zealand as well, we recently had
the Christchurch attack, yeah.
the mosque shooting, which was like really bad, and not to be a downer on the Pokemon podcast, but it's just like I guess I can understand in relation to wanting to be kind of sensitive about
Yeah.
things like this. I remember people being like in the Pokemon fandom being really kind of outraged that these episodes
Wow.
were taken from syndication, certain vocal members,
Oh.
which I can kind of understand as well, because it's like you've still got action movies that show buildings blowing up, and you still got you still got like stuff with those kinds of themes in media, and
Yeah.
it's like
But
there's
you
that
don't want to like trigger people.
Well,
Yeah.
there's that
Kids
Exactly. Yeah, you want to be gentle with the kids.
there is that yeah, and I guess for a child audience there, it's harder for maybe I don't know about how a child would view media. I mean, I was a child, but like maybe certain children can't have that kind of distinction, or they need that
Yeah,
parent,
might not,
they
like,
need that PG
understand what's
guidance
going on.
Yeah.
as well, because Pokemon's rated G, so it's like supposed to be intended for everyone. So if you have stuff like this in the context of like 2000s post 9/11 world, then it's like you kind of have to have that kind of parental guidance. So maybe it was kind of considered not appropriate. It's like, but then you got stuff like, you got also edgy comedians being like, oh, how, like, making 9/11 jokes as well.
Like, yeah, like we all know me personally,
Yeah.
and the jokes I can make.
Yeah.
I have a very dark sense of humor.
It's like, I think like
Yeah.
there's certain people, they do joke about tragedies as a way of like
Coping.
coming to terms with
That's
it.
exactly why I do it. Like,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the tragedies that happened, and
Yeah.
you know, we all acknowledge that, but sometimes humor is a good coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Sometimes a cartoon is a good coping
It's like
mechanism.
it's well, it's
you know?
like kind of taking control of. It's like you're in your own way kind of trying to take control of this thing that was out of your control.
Yeah.
And so like I don't really fault people for making maybe like kind of in like bad taste jokes. Like right now in the political climate, like people, they do joke a lot, or like joke about politics as well.
Yeah.
And like so, and it's like it's like there's an argument to be made for like, if you make fun of something, you kind of make it like soft and cuddly, and then it loses that sting it had, which in some ways is good and bad, because then that means that you kind of allow it to kind of go by without like interrogating it, but then also you kind of have some control over it. So it's like for me, it's like that kind of dual dynamic to it. And I think for the Pokemon, for the people that were doing on the forums that were arguing against it, they were like, well, this is a thing that is real and it is happening, so why do we have to hide people away from this thing that actually did happen and was real, because this is like reality as well.
It's
It's like that argument about censorship, I think, and like how it affects. I mean, I would argue that like the episode before this that was banned, Beauty and the Beach, was way more problematic in its way of use of gender presentations, and how like gender is portrayed in terms of like objectification of women, and how that turns out.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. But I think at the time it was the good choice, and just because we talked about it so much and so heavily, I just want to quickly say that we at the experience, of course, our lives, and we reach out to all those 3,000 victims of 9/11, all the hundreds of victims in London, and all the 52 victims in Christchurch, and to all their families. We brought this up, so I thought we just acknowledge that quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
I
So-
think we'll probably have like a trigger warning
Yeah.
on it.
What
Just
a change from a
because-
Sesame Street rant to a
Yeah.
rant about terrorist attacks.
I would like to.
Yeah, let's get back
I
on
want to
Pokemon.
quickly
Oh, go
say
ahead.
how you were just saying how I don't think there was a choice in whether it was banned or not. It would have just been like the Pokemon people would have had nothing to do with it.
Oh,
It
for
would have
sure.
been the board. It would have been
Yeah.
like the TV channels.
Well, I think that like you have a certain responsibility. Like I don't know, I can't say who was who had the key decision making process in it, but like maybe the Cartoon Network people or whoever was running them was like,
Who
this,
does have the rights?
at the
It was,
time
wasn't it?
it was
Four kids?
it was like 4Kids had it, but they played it
Oh.
on like W Kids, Cartoon Network,
Cartoon
Disney.
Network,
It kind of
yeah,
jumped
yeah.
around in America.
Imagine
Disney.
4 kids probably would have had the
Yeah.
power.
Yeah.
I know the 4Kids censorship is pretty heavy.
Yeah. I
Especially
mean,
if you
someone
look at
might have
Yu-Gi-Oh!
just been
Yeah.
like, wait, it could have been anyone that would have been like to 4Kids, hey, that made that might like come across as bad. Or it could even be like a parent being like, I saw that and that made me feel very uncomfortable. It could be anything
Yeah.
like that. And I think like that's kind of valid, and they made a choice at the time, and now you can watch it now. So, I mean, it's like things
It's a
like
moment of
that.
history. That's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
just,
it's a moment of
that's the
history.
amazing thing.
Yeah.
All media
Yeah.
that came out then was impacted in some way. Everyone
It
had to
was.
think,
Yeah.
what can we
Like in
show?
Spider-Man
So-
2, I think it was, they edited out a scene
Spider-Man
of
1.
Spider-Man
Would
1,
be the
was it?
first one, Yeah.
They edited out a scene of Spider-Man like webbing up the two towers.
climbing.
And like in
Yeah.
the poster, originally the reflection in his goggles
Oh,
is
Yeah.
like
I
the two
remember that.
towers, but
Yeah.
they change it to just a generic building.
Which is kind of interesting because I can see, again, that goes into censorship about like how they want to avoid like reminding people that that's not there anymore. But
Mhm.
also it's like pretending it's not there is also maybe an issue. That it's a double-sided
It's hard.
kind of thing.
It's hard.
Yeah.
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 Um,
But yeah.
Tentacool and Tentacruel.
Yeah.
Should we
right,
talk
so,
about Pokemon
again?
now?
Our hearts go
Yeah.
out to all the family
Yeah, definitely.
and to all the victims
Absolutely.
of those horrible tragedies that has happened in our human history.
yeah,
It's a real
Yeah.
shame.
and
But Tentacool and Tentacruel.
well, there's also this episode was based heavily off of Godzilla.
Oh yes. Oh, that's my thing now, isn't it?
Are you into Godzilla?
Oh,
He
what?
mentions it like
I
know,
every-
didn't
we
remember
talked about this
the
in the
Dragon
film.
episode.
Actually, just before.
Oh, right.
I've actually, before we go into Godzilla though,
Yeah.
Yes.
to bring the mood a bit lighter,
Yes, that'll be good.
I actually have something that goes back to Magikarp, the purchase of
Ooh,
Magikarp.
Magikarp.
Oh, I love Magikarp.
So the reason you buy Magikarp is for the thousands of eggs, right?
That's a beautiful impression, April.
Horsies do the exact same things as Magikarps. They lay thousands of eggs. I bet a horsey's worth actual money.
It would.
Yeah.
I mean, I reckon
Probably.
it would be harder to like raise a horsey though.
That
I
poor
think
horsey had a
that
black
poor
eye.
horsey. Yeah.
Was it
Someone-
black eye or was it ink?
It
It
ran
was
in.
a black
It
eye.
swam into a doorknob. Was that inappropriate?
For this episode, maybe.
Oh,
A doorknob? Why a doorknob?
That's what it's like. Yeah, we don't need to explain it. We can explain it.
Well, I don't get it. Okay.
Okay.
We can explain
I
it
just thought it
afterwards,
was sad that there was a door
it's
under the water.
okay. Should I look it up, kids? It's good
And
enough
it's
for
spe-
Family
The
Guy.
horsey
It's good
fell
enough
down
for
the
me.
stairs,
The
right?
the pictures that it paints are with squid ink though.
Very
That's-
reminiscent
Yeah.
of your art.
That's what
Logan.
I
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it like that's so sad that it's got like ink in it, right? Is that the deal?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the
Horsies don't
idea.
normally have ink in them.
It was
they
attacked by
do.
the Tentacool.
You don't
Horses have
see
ink in
it
them.
though. You don't.
Yeah, they use like
I don't
use it
remember
for
them
smoke screen and
having
all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh, smoke screen.
You don't like see it in
true.
their skin though. Like,
It's like what?
having the black eyes.
Oh
and
no,
all.
that's just a black
Oh,
eye.
Oh
no,
wait,
I was just
smoke
saying, like, I
screen.
didn't realize.
You just raised a good point because smoke screen is
Does
like
that horse? Does
it's-
Horsey have a smoke screen?
It can
Yes.
you learn
Definitely.
smoke screen, but like in Pokemon, like it would only be able to do it underwater, because like in person it would just like just like
Sure.
Originally,
Ink attack.
originally when Misty says horsey,
yeah.
I thought she was like, "Look at that horse!" Like a horsey, and then it turned to like the little like
It's a
like
horse in the
seahorse
water.
thing, and I was like, "Oh,
You
okay."
brought it up briefly, Logan, with,
Not a Pokemon horse.
with Dexter's description for Horsey.
Ponytail.
What I really enjoyed is that even in the Pokemon world, the male Horsies look after all the babies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just like actual
Oh.
seahorses.
How adorable. Yes.
Cute.
And
Very
Misty goes full on like her Pokemon go full on superhero mode. What are the starfish called?
Staryu
Staryu
and Starmie.
They fly like sailors who
Yeah.
are paralyzed now.
It's like psychic.
Yeah.
powers.
Oh! Here's something I was gonna say. Actually, I gotta. I think I have a theory about why Starcruel becomes massive.
Starcruel. Okay, that goes into the
Starcruel?
pantheon of cylindrical.
Yeah.
What was
I
the
think
other?
that was only one.
there was another one.
Starcruel.
It's
Why
not
did
like,
you say
it's not like
Cerulean
Star-Lord's
City wrong?
redacted cousin in Guardians of the Galaxy.
What was it? Starcruel.
I am
People should
Starcruel.
draw these.
Okay, here's Tentacruel became massive. So Tentacool went to Tentacruel,
Massive
right?
legend.
Yeah.
Because here's the
Bloody
theory:
Maximo, folks.
Team Rocket was gonna
That's a cool one.
use stun, like jelly, like
Yes.
stun milk or whatever you want to call it,
Stun milk.
Stunfisk.
and pour it on, and they were gonna pour it on the Tentacruel. And as we learn from this first attack, Tentacruel can stun people. So when they pour the stun thing on the one
He's
Tentacool, the stun milk seeps into its like thing and like amplifies its powers and abilities, which is why it's massive.
Yeah, I think
Right.
Dennis, like, yeah, it reiterates
Right.
what Dennis said and kind of relating again to Godzilla. Like I've said a few times now, Godzilla is based around, of course, all the nuclear testing and attacks in Japan and the fear that fish will turn into giant radioactive lizards. I kind of see that with this Tentacool, where they're
Yeah.
getting some mysterious waste onto
Oh,
it. and
absolutely.
Gigantamax
political.
into a giant size.
Yeah.
We now have 2 giant Pokemon in the world, being a
Yeah.
Dragonite and a Tentacruel.
Yeah, maybe they can be
Yeah.
friends.
That'd be cute.
It's
What
like,
happened to the Dragonite?
it's,
We never know.
Oh, did you hear
it's
our theory?
like
What was your theory?
oh.
Sorry, Dennis.
From
The
the last-
Dragonite is a runaway robot from Pokemon Land from the previous
It's a runaway. It's not real. It's not a real Dragonite.
Yeah.
That's quite sad.
Harry
like
ruined
it's
it
a
for all of
robot.
It
us.
just reminds that scene just as like Puff the Magic Dragon. But also, did you mention cracking open a cold one with the boys earlier?
Oh,
Not
I
yet.
mentioned Cold Ones, the
Oh, Cold
podcast.
Ones.
Podcast.
Right. Because
if
when...
you-
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just going to plug us a second.
go ahead.
Cold Ones out there.
Great podcast.
Anything for Fuse and Max Mofo. I'm a big fan. If you want to get us on your show,
Yeah.
we're only across the pond.
Across the pond.
yeah.
My parents live in Brisbane. I'll see you there.
Oh my god.
Well, I was
We're
just
really
saying
letting the fame get to our heads.
that when I was watching it with Logan before, and they were sitting Pikachu and Horsey chilling in the
Yeah.
little pool,
Tubs.
and he's
Cute.
like this. I was like cracking open a cold one with the boys.
Oh, nice.
It's such an iconic
It's
shot
so
of Pikachu in
cute.
the little floaty.
Yeah.
It's so adorable.
Floaty. Aw.
They're just hanging out. They're friends.
Yeah. So this is
Godzilla?
this episode is aside the it being pulled because of 9/11 is very political in that when it comes
Nuclear.
to the damaging
Yes.
of the
Coral
natural
reefs.
world and
Coral
reefs
reefs,
for
Yeah.
profit.
Natural
Um,
resources.
it's the-
Nestina offers Ash, Brock, and Misty to help them get rid of the tentacles by giving them free food, $1 million, and Misty, the lovely eco-warrior that she is, just straight up says no, and just gets Brock and Ash away from there, and just lays into him about why that is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love
I
that Nestina's like, that is one lady that can't be bought.
Yes, so good.
I have a theory on why as well. Just because like it's like super political, and I guess Pokemon obviously is saying, it's obviously going wants to be like environmentalist and stuff. But I think why they use Pikachu to have like a lot of like sway and convincing and stuff
Oh, yeah.
is because they don't want to say something that will make parents and something be like, oh, this is wrong, that you can't watch this. So you get the Pikachu
Ah,
who
smart.
can't say like anything political because he's saying Pikachu
Yeah.
Yeah.
to like have the most of the convincing, and then you just have Misty's heartwarming plea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you get Pikachu to do the political talking for
There's a
you.
man of brains.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean, yeah, because the main thing it presents is that, like, you know, the Pokemon are angry because their habitat has been
The home's
destroyed,
being destroyed.
Yeah.
which is, like, you know, objectively a bad thing.
No, objectively.
Not really
it is a bad
objective.
thing.
Yeah, what do you
Yeah.
know,
It is bad.
Well, that's what objectively means, right? Like,
Oh yeah, no,
factual.
objectively. Subjectively is when it's your own opinion.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Apologize.
You're right, Dennis.
Sorry,
Okay,
Dennis.
No, it's
We
fine.
apologize. on
We
this
all
podcast
learn.
when
We're
wrong.
all learning.
Yeah, it's a bad thing. April and I, we spent a decent
A
year
long amount of time.
working on
You
this
did-
wonderful show.
you did a show, yeah.
Called
Yeah.
11 and a half years,
Two,
and we
technically.
redid it,
Yeah.
renamed 10 and 2/3.
Yeah, the
based
redux.
around April. Do you want to explain what it's about, actually?
Sure. Wow. I don't know how to sum things up very well.
I got you back.
Thank you. Yeah, so we did like a slow tempo show that was like, you don't speak in it and you just move very slowly. So it was more like we called it like a meditation on pollution and whatnot. Eco-catastrophe. We had everything on the stage was like recycled.
Yeah.
I was going slow. I was like, I thought you were like gonna pause me. Yeah. And I guess like each part, it's kind of like not really post-apocalyptic,
Mhm.
but like I don't know what you'd call it, like warning of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It's
was
a
kind of that, like,
dystopian.
with
Yeah.
with it was around the Paris Climate Accord when we started devising this piece, where they gave us 12 years,
Yeah.
to the point where our natural temperature would raise above 2 degrees, which would then be catastrophic for humanity, pretty much.
Yeah.
Irreversible.
Hence 11 and a half years
Irreversible,
when
yes.
we put it on.
11 and a half years
go,
when we put it on, and
2
then 10 and
degrees.
2/3 when we redid it.
Go 2 degrees. Get out of here, Vodafone and Skinny Mobile.
What?
Thanks.
Wouldn't that be a
What?
reason to not go 2 degrees?
I don't really understand.
But
You just said 2
in the play itself, we have this beautiful ocean scene,
Mm,
and we
yeah,
have a wonderful
did.
jellyfish in that ocean
And
scene.
yeah, it was
and
made
that's
of an
all that was
umbrella.
running through my mind.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta be honest.
Oh, funny.
It was a quite personal one
Yeah.
for me. I
Yeah.
don't know if it was for you as well, but it was for me.
The ocean.
Just because of all what we've done and researching and learning all these horrible things that
Oh, the show.
humans
Yeah.
have done to the
Yeah,
ocean.
like-
Yeah,
to the
just 'cause-
forests and the
Yeah,
world.
humans.
Just
What
to
is it?
elaborate,
Fracking?
Nestina wants to build a luxury resort
Mhm.
like underneath the water that sits
Yes.
among the coral where
like
the
Aether
tentacle
paradise in
Is that-
Sun and Moon.
Is that like
Yeah.
fracking? I hear fracking's really
No,
bad.
fracking's like
Fracking's
mining.
drilling for oil.
Yeah. It's
Oh
like,
yeah, that's also bad, right?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
something they
also
do as well, like big noises that like stop whales being able to communicate.
But like,
Oh yeah.
she wants to she's just like landscaping, but in the water. So she's like
Yeah.
waterscaping.
She
Yeah,
wants to
you know
make
what? I
money.
saw a funny
Animal
Twitter.
conservation.
I saw a Twitter was like lawns are like so bad for the environment, like just having like grassy lawns.
Like mowing them and like watering them is bad.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you have to use a lot of water to
Oh
like
right.
to maintain them
Yeah.
if you want like a pristine lawn and also like mow them and
That's
stuff.
why I
Yeah.
live in an apartment building.
Yeah, that's
You know,
why.
on
Yeah.
that's why.
Not
You
just
know,
like
on
cheap
a
rent or anything.
yeah, the Cinderella story. If anyone remembers that, wait, the Hilary Duff one.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one where she goes, "You're not very."
The
You're
Elizabeth
not
Clever.
very
the
smart.
Li- the
You're not
Lizzie
very
McGuire
pretty.
movie.
Wait, what did I say?
Hilary Duff one.
Oh.
So I just said Lizzie McGuire movie.
In my mind, I was like, "That's the same thing." Yeah, when like her family or her like stepmom, their lawn
Oh,
is
yeah.
like so green, and everyone else's is dry, and she's like, "Aren't we in a drought?"
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
ouch, that's heavy.
it's like one thing I find interesting is that it's like environmentalism is like really, it's like kind of like it's a touchy subject because it's like I feel like it's kind of like it's very hard to be environmental and not come across as preachy or like it's a fine line, I would say, like
Especially back when this was created, 1999.
Oh, definitely when this was.
Was
I mean,
recycling
Yeah.
you had
thing
like
then?
Yeah,
well
no, it
yeah
wouldn't
you
have
had
been,
they-
like,
you,
Plastic was like a new
pressing.
cool thing.
Yeah,
Oh my
Plastic.
god, yeah.
yeah
I think,
actually
like,
yeah
I think Pokemon like
it
had
was
a
during the
certain...
boom, wasn't it?
Plastic fashions. Wait, the boom?
The boom, like the
Plastic furniture.
economic boom
Yeah.
Ah.
of Japan.
And like well, Pokemon
Or-
had like because like I think Pokemon was going more maybe from animal conservation maybe than
Yeah, for sure.
environmentalism at this point.
Mhm.
Like because they were talking about more about the tentacle suffering, not the
Yeah.
ocean.
Right.
And so I think they
Or-
also like being like a show about animals, they kind of had to have at one point episode like they do like so many themes like the Charmander
Charmander.
and Bulbasaur being abandoned
Mm.
is all about animal
That's brutal.
cruelty,
It was abandoned
and this is like a mass animal cruelty.
It's the equivalent for like
it's like-
water Pokemon. because
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
water.
So yeah,
Yeah.
this is like
Yeah.
this is like them showing and like Pokemon. I think has like a certain responsibility to have like animal cruelty things because they're like
they're
preaching.
like,
they're like
you're
they're like
getting
the
them to
only kind
battle.
of like children's show that has like
Yeah.
mystical animals, and like that's a good way to show that like if you can treat Pokemon with respect, you should like treat your dog.
It kind of
with
and
respect.
it also shows like if you don't treat them with respect, like they're gonna fight back as well. As
Yeah.
we see in this episode, the
Oh,
giant
yeah.
Tentacruel
Oh, yeah, they
destroys the whole
fight.
city.
Yeah, I mean, going back to Godzilla, it's like the idea of there's a feeling of progress being the hubris, like creating hubris, like there's so like you're expanding so much far out that you're kind of destroying the world that you're in,
Mhm.
and it's
Yeah.
like nature is fighting back against it, which is what the Tentacool are, the nature.
Mm.
Yeah, well, they literally say they're like, "You destroyed our home, we're gonna destroy your home."
It's like
Mm.
it's
That's
like
what they say.
like the recent Jurassic World movie.
Yeah.
They released
yeah.
all the dinosaurs to take over the world again.
Oh my
Yeah.
god,
Oh my God.
that
I'm a
is
clone
that is
too.
Harry. That is the worst movie.
I hate
Is that
it.
a spoiler?
One of the
Excuse
worst
me, you
movies.
haven't
bad.
seen the
I
Dragon
told
Ball
Oliver
movie.
we were going to the movies when we saw it
bad.
together, and I was like,
It's bad.
Oliver, we're not going to enjoy this. It's terrible. And he was like, no, it's gonna be okay. I was like, Oliver, I've only heard very
It had
bad
like a
thing. And worst, like
50% on Rotten Tomatoes at the
Not good.
time, so I was
Not
like,
good.
it may be good.
the worst like $12 I've
Is
Is
ever
that the
spent in my
one?
life.
Is that the one that got flack for having the scientist lady running in the heels?
No, it's the one before.
That was the first
Oh, yeah.
one, but the second one was ridiculous because there was a new breed of
Auctions.
dinosaurs. There was cloning a human. There was releasing the dinosaurs upon the world because it's the right thing to do. It was bad.
And there's a
And
third
then also
movie coming
the- oh my
out.
God.
And then the kid, the clone kid, like feels some like responsibility to the clone dinosaurs,
Yeah.
so she lets them free into
'Cause
the
she's just a
world.
clone.
But I was gonna say before that like to do with animals being attacked and then attacking back. That's kind of a comment on like just blaming animals for being
Yes.
like
Ah,
aggressive
yeah.
and whatnot
Yes.
when really like there's a reason.
It's a
They've
reason.
been
Yeah,
prompted.
actually, that brings up like the masters being bad, not the Pokemon being
Exactly.
bad in the
Mm.
previous episode.
Yeah.
Bringing it back.
Bring
Get
it back. Actually,
people.
I wrote down. I forgot to mention. It's like the nature versus nurture
Yeah.
argument.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like that whole theory of like you're born a certain way or you grow up a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, which is like similar to Pokemon.
It's a damn deep episode.
It's
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah,
It's so
we're-
multifaceted.
It presents you with a lot to
Psychology.
chew on.
Who would have
Yeah.
thought that
As well
episodes
as-
about cool tents?
And
was
which
so
is
deep?
why, like,
Cool
it's like
tents.
it's really funny. Me and April both laughed when we were watching it when they're all like throwing out their Pokemon really dramatically, and then Brock's just like, "Go Zubat!"
Zubat. Yeah.
Especially because like they all have like 2 or 3,
and
I
like
think
they're
it's
cool Pokemon
Yeah,
as well.
cool Pokemon,
Yeah.
and then Brock just has 1, and it's Zubat.
To be fair, he's aware to not use Geodude.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
wouldn't have
Yeah,
worked.
yeah,
As
yeah.
Ashes with Charmander.
Yeah, this
we got-
definitely shows
We
like
got
if this was
Goldeen, my MVP of the episode.
she gets raked.
Goldeen.
Goldeen,
I was like, when
come on.
when Goldeen got whipped by a tentacle, I was like, no.
Goldeen deserves it.
She's like,
The best thing
Goldeen.
Goldeen did in this episode was just swimming through the water right at the start, and me and
And
Harry were like,
saving the
"Wow, look at
person.
Goldeen go!
Being useful.
He
What?
can swim."
Goldeen saved Team Rocket in the Saint Anne
Is that a good
episode.
thing?
She
No.
puts the go in Goldie.
Is that?
No, in this episode, Logan.
I know. Well, actually, here's the thing. Here's another thing I realized during Dennis's
Talk.
Spiel.
synopsis.
Oh yeah.
I actually just thought about it when we were doing
Jack Black.
when they shoot like the rose onto the tank.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that famous, is it? Photo of the protesters putting like
putting flowers
the
on
flowers
the
into
nuclear bomb?
tanks.
Or is it tanks? Yes, tanks.
Like they put the flower into the barrel of the
Wait,
tank.
are you? No,
Yeah.
I think you're confusing like two different things. Like there's one where like there's a hippie putting a flower into like a rifle, and then there's one of the Tiananmen Square incident where the shopper standing in front of the rifle. Is that right?
I don't
I
know.
think there's still one with the tank as well, though.
Oh, yeah.
Peaceful.
Or
well,
maybe
that's
it's
a
into the
peaceful
rifle, but
protest.
still,
Right,
it's
with
still like
Yeah.
the same. It's
It's
still
quite
like,
similar.
That's
It's
funny
like-
that you guys got that feeling
Yeah.
because I just assumed the rose with James. Cause
Oh, it was
he
James.
a lot
I
in
knew
the
yeah.
that was
beginning.
James.
I'm just saying. There's like I thought
Yeah.
like
That's cool.
I
Cool
just thought it was
consistency
funny how
things.
it had a suction cup on it because usually they don't. They just like it's so sharp that it like pierces.
I was
the
just waiting.
metal or
I was
something.
waiting for him to
I
have like
could
a
see that
bow and
probably
arrow.
being- I don't know. I could see that probably being the Japanese version and that changing it up for the English
Well,
version.
I
don't know,
wouldn't.
though.
I don't think they would have because they just weren't in the habit of doing that, and it was a rose.
Yeah,
but
makes
like
sense.
in 4 Kids, when they did One Piece, they like butchered like a lot of the weapons in that show to make it look.
Same with Yu-Gi-Oh!
like
and
One
Shadow Realm.
Piece.
Yeah.
I haven't thought of One Piece in years.
We had six
I never
people.
One
watched
Piece,
it.
One Piece is really okay. One Piece is really good, and it's like
It comes to One
it's
Piece
a
podcast
it's
next
like
week.
it's like the Japanese equivalent of like it's on the level
Pirates
of
of the
like
Caribbean.
Pokemon or even more. Like it's
Really?
it's on the level of Pokemon or like a Dragon Ball even.
It's big in Japan.
It's
yeah,
gone
it's
for ages.
giant.
Wow.
It's like it's really
Is it
really quite good.
That one's still going, eh?
Yeah.
Or
They
it
had a big
stopped.
time
Yeah,
skip. Yeah.
It's
There, Dragon Ball only had 9. Well, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z each had 9 seasons.
yeah.
April's a big
I'm a Dragon Ball
Dragon
buff.
Ball.
Yeah.
Z.
You can call me. I don't know. I was gonna say Dragonite. That's not the right.
One
term.
thing we haven't really touched on is the Tentacruels taking control of Meowth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
That-
goddamn scary!
That was
Terrifying.
His
interesting.
eyes go like
Possessed, yeah.
gold or yellow or
glowing.
orange.
So-
Like
or something.
possession.
It was so alien.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
very
he had like a
alien-like.
His
voice
creepy
like
voice.
this.
Yeah.
They like I assume that like there was like a hive mind situation and they all like were linked together, which makes it look like
Like
weird.
Unity from Rick
Yeah.
and Morty.
Yeah.
It's
The
like
exact
No,
same
no,
concept.
it's
That's where they
kind
got
of
it from.
like
Again, yeah.
it really like helps to add to make them seem like more alien, like to have
Yeah.
this kind of
Yeah, they're
different
Because
very
way.
they're
of
quite inherently alien-looking Pokemon. Like
And they
Tentacool
can
looks
fly.
like a UFO. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know if there's any Subnautica fans out there, but
I know of the game.
no one else in this room
I
has.
know of
I haven't
Oh,
played
yeah.
it.
the game.
I've seen
There's
you play
these
it.
in Subnautica, like there's like an alien disease world, and there's these little things that look like tentacles, like that called warpers that like warp you out of your ship or like are just trying to kill you and like to get rid of the disease and stuff. And they're terrifying. So whenever I see a tentacle now, I get like flashbacks to being in my little submarine and like 1,000 meters deep in the ocean being
It's
warped out of my
terrifying.
They get
It is
bloopers
terrifying.
Is
from
that the
Mario.
one, like the big one that you're always like?
ship. Yeah, whenever you hear me scream in that game, it's because I've seen one of those.
I got the fun bloopers from Mario.
Oh, bloopers!
Oh,
I thought you
yeah.
meant like actual. Like,
Yeah, I
TV
thought you meant
bloopers.
bloopers, and I was like, "There's bloopers
the
from
enemies.
Mario." Game?
Yeah,
what
the squid
about,
things. Yeah.
What about the squids in Minecraft? Do you know anyone?
What about the squids
okay.
from
Splatoon.
Splatoon? Yeah.
SpongeBob, Squidward.
Squidward.
Who'd
probably-
win in a fight, a Tentacool or Squidward?
Ooh.
Yeah.
No, he
Squidward
would
wouldn't be
like
bothered.
he'd clarinet them away with his dulcet
Oh,
tones.
that's really his arch rival.
I love that you remember his name.
Yeah, Squilliam.
Squilliam.
Squeal.
I have a point I would kind of like to raise that actually detached me from the episode quite a bit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
kinda
Yeah,
sucked
you
me
didn't
out.
like this episode, did you?
I liked it for
controversial.
everything that we've talked about so far, but I ultimately didn't like it that much because I felt real detached and like sucked out of it. Pretty much because of the amount of destruction we saw of the cities.
Yeah.
Like during this rampage, we see like mass cities, like mass skyscrapers, just fully like
It's one city though.
like mass skyscrapers, like just cut in half. I'll get to you soon, Harry. Just like cut in half, like fallen over. There must have been thousands of people like in those towers, or like thousands of jobs that people were doing. The whole time, I'm just thinking like this is like mass destruction on like a major level. But like no one was really.
But do you know what happened to
acknowledging-
the Tentacool? Mass destruction
Their
of
whole
the whole
habitat.
Oliver,
Yes, Harry.
you like the Avengers, don't you?
I do like the Avengers.
This is
Battle of
like
New York, buddy.
this is like
They
that.
destroy New York City.
Yeah, but New York City doesn't just come back like
Yeah,
next few
Here
years.
did the show. It was the
what?
other side of the island. That was established.
Were you saying that it like was like you were annoyed that it looked like normal at the end of it?
Yeah,
Oh.
that
Oh, okay.
that
It's actually
makes
like,
more sense.
It's so crazy that like this
and
is
then at the
probably,
very
like,
end, yeah, it looks completely normal. Like
so
it was fine.
So far, this is like even like you can tell from like what we've been talking about in the episode, probably the most dramatic or maybe intense episode we've had so far.
Well,
Yeah.
probably not to do
Yeah.
with, like a personal level.
Well, I mean,
but,
they were
yeah.
on a sinking ship as well.
And
Oh,
Charmander
which is
nearly
pretty
died.
Okay,
intense.
Yeah.
maybe from like now, like because of the cultural
Yeah,
like
yes, yeah.
things that
Yeah.
the history
Yeah.
that's
Alright.
happened.
It's like just
there.
the imagery of this episode.
Yeah.
So much,
Yeah.
And, like,
so much to unpack.
It's
from
so weird. I can agree with Oliver that like at the end they're just like on a boat sailing away,
Yeah,
And
that's
just
all
be like,
fine.
smiling
that
at
happened.
Horsey
Yeah.
and Pikachu sitting on the deck together.
Yeah, after a whole city's been like demolished pretty
Like-
Yeah,
much.
you guys can rebuild,
can-
right?
Yeah, see you guys.
You can see that though, right? Because the magic of animated TV shows, of course, is that everything's back to normal.
Yes.
In 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But I don't think they would have expecting a terrorist attack to be linked with this. I don't think they would expect
Oh no.
environmental
It
was
damage
just
to become
quite-
such a major
it's
thing in
like
the
A
future.
large scale.
Yeah, it's just a big
Yeah. And it's just-
unfortunate coincidence.
Nowadays, though, like if this
Yeah.
happened in a cartoon, it would have ramifications on
Yes,
the series.
there'll be
But
plot
Pikachu's
points.
like, sorry,
Like
Pikachu.
Adventure Time?
Pokemon is like just separate from that.
Yeah, we always see things repairing themselves in Phineas and Ferb,
Yeah.
the hit Disney TV show.
It's
almost
like
said sitcom.
it's like
That's
there,
something
there, that episode with the mental patient that thinks that they're Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like that episode has been
Oh
taken
my
off.
gosh!
It's
wow.
taken off of.
the Simpsons episode.
Oh, the Simpsons.
Yeah,
right,
that's
yeah,
been
yeah.
taken off of Disney
Great episode.
Has it?
XD.
Plus,
Oh, Disney Plus.
Oh,
sorry.
is it not on Disney
They've taken it
Plus?
off. I think they're
It's
retiring
Oh,
it.
probably because of Michael Jackson connections, though. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've completely like taken it off of Disney Plus. I don't know why I
Wow.
keep saying
That
XD.
had so many
It's a good
reruns
episode.
on, like,
It is a really
Great
good
TV.
episode, but
What I found interesting
Yeah.
in Community on Netflix is that they left the episode that had Jared Fogle in it.
That's
Who?
funny.
I don't know where, but I'll look it up.
Subway
later.
guy?
Season 5,
Oh.
Jared Fogle.
Subway guy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
really?
but like,
Yeah.
well, that's like the
Right.
thing that we were talking about. It's like, it is like a product of its like
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
And
like
it's just like another layer to talk about, I suppose.
it's
Yeah.
like when Disney has those like stuff like Song of the South, which is the
Oh, yeah.
first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Where they just be like, well, this is what was presented at the time, and like you having to have that disclaimer is quite like at the
Mhm.
front of it, which I think is what they're trying to do to kind of conserve that history, but also kind of
Yeah.
understand the ramifications of
'Cause,
that
like,
presentation.
Yeah, because people aren't going to learn like what's wrong and what's not if we keep pretending like those mistakes were never made.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like I guess it's like doing it within like just context. It's like old context.
The
and-
context is so important.
It's
for
key.
Sure, you can't just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
from something.
Half my essays are about context.
Mm.
Sorry, this must be really bad on my part.
No.
This episode of us, not the Pokemon episode, has probably been the first time you've really talked about the Pokemon episode.
What do you
And
mean?
we've talked more about the ramifications around it. And
Right.
that's actually quite nice, though.
Yeah.
Because as an episode itself,
It's-
unfortunately, it is quite empty. There's not much to it.
I mean,
There's a big destruction at the end, sure.
Yeah.
I think
But
if
the
like
history surrounding it is really what
if,
Yeah.
if
so
like
rich and
Yeah.
important.
if it wasn't pulled
But-
off the air because of 9/11,
Yeah.
we probably would have like duoed this episode with the band
Yeah.
episode before it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely it is interesting to see how like interesting ways in which society as a whole kind of reacts to it.
We live in a society.
we do.
My name's
Yes.
Chef.
And
So those are shirtless men dinners.
oh right,
Oh, we
that's
haven't
right.
even
The
touched
shirtless-
on
I
the
can't-
shirtless
I
I
can't
men.
reckon
let
this
it
is a
sit.
good way to
With
finish
flowing
off the episode.
hair.
is talk about shirtless
Nestina
men.
just has
Let's
like
do it.
concubines, so she's kind of like the male version of like Hugh Hefner,
Hefner,
which I
You
like
mean the
appreciate.
female version?
Female version of Hugh Hefner. I wish I was the male version of Hugh Hefner.
That's you, Hefner.
Oh right.
He's dead, isn't he?
He's dead. Yeah.
Is he?
Isn't he?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
recently.
he died a couple years back.
But
Wow.
so like it's just like it's a really funny image. So obviously, Nestina and Brutalia, they're both come from money,
Yes.
from like being property moguls and like running other people out of business. They do play quite dirty, as we can see from the band episode previous to this one, Beauty and the Beach, which yeah we haven't looked at yet, but we will, and
But it
keep
will
an eye
be
out for that.
coming out before this episode.
Yeah, which it makes it very confusing to kind of think about.
It doesn't.
It confuses me because
That's
like
okay.
trying to explain
That's
it.
okay. Yeah.
And yet, you know, like how many concubines would you consider is appropriate?
Like, how many would we have?
How many is too
Yeah.
How many
Huh.
concubines? Oh,
Wait, sorry. What's
how many a concubine is?
Fancy
Those sexy,
paid.
skinny men.
Or,
Okay, cool.
Or
Okay.
they
It's
can
like
be
a sex
Of course
women.
they
It could be a
Of
woman,
course
yes.
they can be women.
We're
Classic
equal
art.
opportunity.
I can
here.
have
They could be
woman
whatever they
concubine.
identify as.
Yeah.
Of course.
Oh yeah. Oh no, sorry.
I thought it was an interesting because like what year did this come out?
Answer the question,
99,
Oliver.
2000.
I
Answer the
I thought this
question.
was like an interesting like gender presentation
Yeah.
because you would kind of expect like a male boss with all these kind of like young like beautiful women around him. That's what you would kind of expect to be presented as like all power, like using kind of women as like a representation of
Oh,
like power. But
yeah.
it's kind of like the opposite
Quite
here,
progressive, yeah.
which is quite progressive. Like yeah,
Which is quite funny. It's interesting that you mentioned that because the Beauty and the Beach episode was very skewed the opposite way, which kind of fell into that kind of idea of fan service and like
I would have two
Ah.
concubines.
You'd have two?
What for?
Two? What sex
you
would
wanna
they
ask
be?
that question,
I would-
Oliver? What
sex
for?
would it be?
I mean, like, I would have
Depending
none
whatever,
because that
depending
seems
on whatever the gender they
immoral.
identify as.
oh
They
okay.
have to make money
Okay.
somehow.
What genitals
I don't
would they
want
have?
to.
Oh,
Oh my
right.
god.
What genitals would they have?
I don't know.
Look,
What?
I don't know.
You're
Logan wants
are you
to know
trying
the
to high road
details.
Harry? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, you're trying
High
to
road?
railroad me right now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see what he says.
That's the other thing about like these concubines. They had like really beautiful
They're
like
twinks.
hair.
They are twinks.
That's what we were calling them.
They're
Yeah.
twinks.
I'd have.
Yeah.
I mean, if I can have concubines, you're asking me how many I have, then I'll
What
have as many as I
genitals do they have,
possibly
Oh my
can.
gosh, Logan.
I'd have-
Why?
About maybe like 15 on rotation.
I see how it is.
Like,
Oh
you
my
know, I
God.
just
I
have
see
them,
my
I'd have
place
them
in
on
this
rotation.
relationship.
So like, you know, like
Or just number one, April.
I'd
that's
have like
all.
5,
Five.
5 1 week,
Like
and then
Holly
5,
Madison
and then
of
they
the
get
Playboy
2 weeks
Mansion.
off. You know,
What is this, Tiger King?
so like they'll get
Yeah,
they'll
I
get
know.
What's
2
that
weeks
guy?
off.
Eric and
In between having to be concubine again. So like they go hard for 7 days for one period.
Go hard for 7 days
Oh my
doing
God.
what?
And they
Logan?
get-
That's
then they get
impressive.
14
no, they need to
days
see a
off,
doctor about that.
And then they go for another 7 days.
Yeah.
That's my concubine schedule.
Man, this episode's
Okay.
gone through some.
Oh my
some
gosh,
wacky
yeah.
goals, isn't it?
And
Maybe
in
this
between
will be
those
the band
14 days,
episode.
Manga PG.
there's another 2 lots of concubines.
There should be a Patreon
Oh my
exclusive.
God.
I
The
thought
math
it through.
works out.
It checks out.
Because you don't want to tie your concubine the same
Well, I don't know,
5
maybe
or the
I do.
same 2 concubines out. No, I want my 15 to rotate.
You know, 15's
Yeah.
an odd number, right?
Yeah, so 5 a week.
But you
Oh,
have
I
7
see what
days
you
in a week.
Yeah, but with me there's
Leave the
6 of
weekends
us, so you know. Yeah, but they go for 7 days. Like it's not one a day.
Wouldn't that exhaust you? What if like?
Like, 'cause
you'd-
sometimes I'll let
you'd-
them
they'd
play
feel
with each other.
Oh my
It would
god,
exhaust
they
you.
would feel neglected.
I'm just saying.
Like,
What?
imagine. Look,
You're still getting paid.
Look, I get when I have to go to work. I'm not a concubine, but when I have to go, when I have to go,
Now we're questioning that.
when I, when I have to go to work and there's nothing to do, I just get bored, and then I'm like, why am I here? And that would be the same thing for the concubine that you don't.
I'm sure concubines getting good money. They ain't gonna complain.
Yeah, if you're a concubine, please let us know about
Experience.
at thedexperiencepodcast@gmail.com because
have
we'd
you
be
on as a
interested
guest.
to hear about your experience, and we'll read out your fan mail. I guess.
I think it's around time we should
Yeah.
get our thoughts.
Final
Final
thoughts.
thoughts.
Episode.
April, do you want to go first with final thoughts?
Final thoughts. One thing I didn't mention was how interesting it is that Pokemon can understand all Pokemon and human languages, but here's us humans
Ah.
being a bit dumb. You know?
Now that's
True.
Yeah.
That's a
Right?
final thought.
That's
Maybe
my
that's the
final,
final
thought.
thought.
Maybe they're the advanced species where the slaves belong.
Tweed, do you want to go final thoughts?
I would like to go next. Yeah, what an episode, huh? Wow, we really dived in there, didn't we, guys?
Deep
Um,
dive.
Look, I've always been bad with my grammar, and it's a personality trait of mine. So,
Your grandma.
You're like Ekans.
yeah, I've said previously, like I didn't love this episode. I think it was a good episode. It was just I just got sucked out of it a bit. I think there's a lot going on. Like I said, it was such like a massive scale, like the destruction. Like it really was a whole city being destroyed, and then I just got kind of taken out of it because by the end everything was fine. And in my mind, I'm just like, thousands of people just like lost their jobs, and like that's all that I was thinking. So, yeah, it's my final thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, Goldine is trash. Is my
Hey,
Excuse
unsung
me.
heroes.
Unsung
Unsung heroes.
Unsung heroes for this week go out to my boy Zubat. That's what I'm saying. He's my unsung hero for the
I
week.
respect that. I
Zubat's a
respect
king.
that.
Head up, Zubat.
Keep your head held up high,
Be a
Zubat.
Crobat one day.
One day.
I really enjoyed this episode. I also enjoyed how it kind of let us talk about like these kind of really deep issues, which I think, people try and avoid because they're not really comfortable subjects. But yeah, I like, it was a Godzilla send-off, and it was really well done, and the atmosphere of the Tentacool was really good. I keep gonna say the other one. Karul.
Well, they're both in there. So.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed Misty in this episode as well. I forgot to mention, she becomes a boss bitch when she's like around a body of water.
I remember you, Dennis, saying about five episodes back.
Yeah.
This is probably the last episode to really see Misty have an arc.
Yeah.
Since then, she's had about 3 episodes.
That's
Like,
true,
Yeah.
Yeah, because I see it as well. Like in the episode before the Saint Anne one, I was like, oh, Misty's not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She came back.
I
man.
did
She
feel
came
that. I
back.
feel like,
Definitely a
I
Misty
definitely
episode.
did have before the Saint Anne
Mhm.
stuff. Like, I felt like she was losing a lot of her agency and story importance. But apparently, all you need to make Misty interesting is have her in a body of water.
Exactly.
Like, just like she's the Aquaman of the group. You kind of need to put her in her element to of have her thrive. I'm just thinking about, there's a scene where they're in water in the movie where she kind of shines.
Yeah.
And even the third one as well. Even the second one. Like, she has to be in water to get things done. But
That's her zone.
I really enjoyed, they kind of imply that Misty has kind of, in this episode and also in the 2 episodes before this, she has a reverence for the sea. She really respects the sea. She's kind of like a sea empath, like an ocean. Like, she's really one with the sea, which I wish they had kind of gone more in depth with and kind of elaborated more upon, because I'm not sure if she kind of goes down that route. I can't remember. Maybe she does, and I've misremembered.
She's like, I found her like super brave, like going up and standing on like the building, and like she was like the sacrificial lamb that didn't actually get sacrificed. But
yeah,
good for her.
if this episode was made now, it would have been Ash talking to the Tentacruel.
Do you reckon?
Like, yeah, they
with Pokemon.
yeah,
Right.
like they definitely, I feel
Side
like
characters have no stories and all that.
they do get sidelined quite a lot. But like, I really respect that they kind of gave the time to kind of flesh out the Misty and Brock in this one. And what else?
It's just bad writing.
I really think that Nestina was like a great villain. It was good to have like a villain that you could kind of that you could enjoy to dislike, because they were just so outwardly villainous and monopolizing and like businessy, which is good, but also like there is a bit too close to home right now currently, just with the things that are happening in certain parts of the world. But yeah, it was a good episode, good action as well, like great story, great action. It was good to see like buildings blow up. I mean, in the sense of an action movie, not
Logan, do you want to give your thoughts?
Yes,
in the sense of an action
give my
movie.
thoughts now. I liked it.
Oh, good
Nice, great final.
I mean, like everything's kind of already been said. It was really good. I think, like I said, I think if like history hadn't played out how it was, this episode probably like would have been like almost like this episode probably would have been filler. It is filler, I guess.
it is.
You could
It is
argue
filler.
Giant Pokemon was a filler as well, and that was a great episode,
Yeah. I'm not saying filler's bad, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like,
Filler's always the best.
yeah, like.
especially in.
But it's
this
not even
season.
like it's not even like really like it is story building filler for Misty. Like I like how because like Brock and Ash both have constantly having a bit more story than Misty, especially like a few episodes ago they were having way more going on than Misty. So it was quite cool having Misty actually like serving a purpose in the story now, and like she's always loved the ocean, and like the way that the anime has like water Pokemon working, I guess she really does have to be near water to shine as well.
Yeah.
But fun episode
Um,
to like discuss.
there's not much on the episode for me that I can really highlight. Cool, another Godzilla themed episode. I love that. That's awesome for me. Great. But given the whole real life surroundings around this episode is what really makes it important for me.
Yeah.
The fact it was banned because, of course, 9/11 and the ongoing environmental crisis we're having on this planet. This episode speaks volumes for what humans can do to either destroy or to save. We have the power to do both, and hopefully humans will choose the right one, and that is, of course, to save. It's who would have thought that this episode from 1999 or 8 or 2000
Would
be
hold
so
up.
would hold up and be so important for today.
Yes.
It speaks such a strong message.
It certainly like ignites that flame in me that like really gets angry at like environmental destruction, especially for monetary gain.
Exactly that. Exactly
my
that.
goat.
Like it's the classic thing that people just want to stuff their pockets with money, but what can you spend that money on if there's nothing left?
Yeah, it is like quite it's quite like an interesting observation even here, where it's like it's kind of showing that from a mass scale, like bigger production is kind of like probably one of the most damaging things to the environment.
Yeah, we all make jokes about Amazon and stuff taking over the world and Disney taking over the world. It's scary to think. It's scary to think, and they have the power to literally make or break the world.
Yeah. Disney is solar powered, by the way.
Yeah, good. But we can never forget that ourselves as people, if we can just do the best we can, and that is to recycle, to be clean, and to love and respect one another, that's enough to make the world better.
And that's where we'll end the episode. So join us next time for The Ghost of Maiden's Peak. Ooh.
Good job.
So if you're watching if you're watching or listening in the day, I hope you had the good rest of your day. And if you're watching or listening in the evening, have a good night, Dexters.
Say a quick thank you to April for being
Thank you,
Thank you
April.
so much for
Thanks for
joining
having
us.
me, boys.
Yeah, we should have you on again sometime.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
This was our
Full
first guest
episode.
star, so we'll have guest stars every so often
Every
when
so
we
often.
think someone we know will fit well into an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope the Dexters out there keep Dextering.
Catch you later, Dexters!
See you later, Dexters.
Bye.
Experience everything you could want. Dex. Experience your dreams. Dex. Experience. Come and walk.